Hello, hello. Here we're doing it. Video 217 and 218. Let's get started. A random sample of 50 students at a large high school was the result of a 95% confidence interval for the mean number of hours somebody sleeps in a day. So they created a confidence interval. Okay, so it looks like the average person, a typical person at the school, sleeps between more than 6 and less than 8 hours. Which of the following statement best summarizes what this means? So again, you should write out, or you should say in your head, a confidence interval means we are 95% confident that the interval from 6.73 to 7.67 hours of sleep per night hours captures the true mean of sleep per night in this large high school. So thinking about this, a confidence interval does not mean exactly this number or exactly this number, or even meaning the number right in between. It means that we're 95% confidence that the mean is somewhere in there, and we cast this really big net. So we're looking for the answer that says that. Now we like when it says about 95% of all the random samples. So let's keep reading. We like that. Of 50 students from this would result in a 95% confidence interval of this to this. Well, this is actually no. And now about 95% of the random samples of 50 students would result in a confidence interval of exactly this. We would be shocked even if we did one more confidence interval from a sample and get exactly these numbers down to the 100th. That would actually be shocking. So it sounds really good, but that's not actually what we would want. The next choice says about 95% of all random samples of 50 students from the population would result in a 95% confidence interval that covered the population mean number of hours sleep per day. So that one actually does summarize what we're talking about. About 95% of the samples, if we took a whole bunch of samples, about 95% of those samples would result in a 95% confidence interval that covered the mean number of hours of sleep in a day. And that's ultimately what that means. Let's keep reading. This one says 95% of the students in the survey slept through there. That's exactly not what a confidence interval is. Not even close to what one is. That's saying 95% of the students reported sleeping between there. No. Again, this is a sample of the mean of the sample. So it's very different than what C is saying. D says 95% of the students in the high school sleep between those hours. That's not what that means either. A student selected at random from this sample sleeps between these hours 95% of the time. That's not what a confidence interval is. Again, a confidence interval is when you take a bunch of samples and you decide whether or not it would fit within this interval. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle of this. You're 95% confident that you have captured the true mean somewhere in there, and you don't know exactly where. So this exactly part we do not like. Now let's take a look at this one. A local company is interested in supporting the environment such that they want to carpool. The company surveyed all of the 200 employees at the downtown office, okay? So there's 200 people, And the employees responded whether or not they own a car, yes or no, or the area of town in which they live. The results are below. Which of the following statement about a randomly chosen person from these employees is true? So we're going to have to just treat these as true and false questions. If a person owns a car, so we're really only talking about these 60 people. So out of these 60 people, right? If a person owns a car, so out of these 60 people, he or she is more likely to live elsewhere than to live downtown. And that's actually true. You're more likely to live elsewhere because elsewhere, 15 out of the 60 live elsewhere. Then to live downtown, only 10 out of the 60 live downtown. And so they're merely asking, is this number or this number a higher likelihood than that number? And the answer would be absolutely yes. So ultimately, these are false, but we found our true right off the bat. Thanks for joining us.